The 1960s built country music into something untouchable, and every single song on this list ruled the airwaves completely before slipping out of memory, even though the true stories behind them are stranger and richer than almost anything on the radio today. Welcome back to the Country Trails. Number 12 starts with a giant of a man, a mine collapse, and a song written in the time it takes to fly from New York to Nashville.
I wonder why everything.
Number 12. Big Bad John, Jimmy Dean, 1961.
Big John, Big John.
Jimmy Dean hadn't had a hit in 9 years and was flying to a Columbia Records session that could have ended his recording career entirely. When he realized on the plane that he was one song short for the session and needed to write something fast.
Big Bad John.
He based the towering silent hero of the song on a real acquaintance, an actor named John Minto who stood 6'5" and built an entire mining disaster narrative around him in roughly 90 minutes, finishing the lyric before the plane even touched down in Nashville.
Big John.
Pianist Floyd Kramer added the finishing touch in the studio, striking a hammer against a piece of pipe to simulate the sound of a collapsing mine shaft, and the finished record shot to number 1 on the pop, country, and easy listening charts simultaneously, an almost unheard of sweep.
Big John. Nobody.
It won Jimmy Dean the 1962 Grammy for Best Country and Western Recording and sold in the millions, reviving a career that Columbia had all but written off, all because of a song built entirely around a made-up man that a whole generation still swears they remember as real.
Down and came and rumbled way down in the ground and it's smoking.
Number 11. Waterloo, Stonewall Jackson, 1959. Before he'd ever released a hit record, Stonewall Jackson, whose real name genuinely was Stonewall, walked into Nashville's Acuff Rose Publishing House unannounced in 1956, sang 3 songs, and impressed the room enough to be signed to the Grand Ole Opry that same day, without a record contract or a single credit to his name. 2 years later, he broke through with Life to Go, a prison ballad written by a young George Jones, and 1 year after that came the song that would define his career, a bouncy, almost gleeful tune written by John D. Loudermilk and Mary John Wilkin, comparing romantic downfall to Napoleon's actual defeat at Waterloo, and, in one verse, to the biblical fall of Adam. Waterloo spent 5 weeks at number 1 on the country charts and crossed all the way to number 4 on the pop charts, an extraordinary showing for a song this strange, mixing European history, scripture, and honky-tonk heartbreak into one 3-minute record. It made Jackson one of the biggest stars in country music almost overnight, and to this day he remains the only artist in Grand Ole Opry history to join the cast before he had a record deal at all. Number 10. Wings of a Dove, Ferlin Husky, 1960.
Wings of the snow white dove.
Songwriter Bob Ferguson built this gentle gospel tune directly from Scripture, drawing its title from Psalm 55 and its central image, a dove returning with an olive branch, straight from the story of Noah's Ark in the book of Genesis. Ferlin Husky, already a honky-tonk hitmaker, recorded it in 1960 with a quiet, aching sincerity that felt completely different from anything else he'd released, and the song spent 10 non-consecutive weeks at number 1 on the country charts, remaining on the chart for 9 months total. What most listeners never realized was that the same man singing with that tenderness also performed as Simon Crumb, a loud comedic hayseed character Husky invented to have audiences howling with laughter earlier in the very same show. Wings of a Dove became Capitol Records' biggest country single of that entire year and remains Husky's final number 1 hit, a spiritual recorded by a man who spent half his career making people laugh and the other half making them believe.
On the wings of
Number 9. The End of the World, Skeeter Davis, 1962.
Why does the sun go on shining?
Years before this song existed, a young singer named Mary Frances Pennock, performing as half of the duo the Davis Sisters, survived a car accident that instantly killed her closest friend and singing partner, Betty Jack Davis.
Mine cry, dog.
The song itself was written separately by Sylvia D., who composed the aching lyric years after losing her own father at just 14 years old. And when the two griefs finally collided in one RCA recording session, producer Chet Atkins doubled Davis's vocal to give it an almost haunted quality.
Why everything's the same as it.
The End of the World reached number 1 on the country charts and number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100, an enormous crossover for a female solo country artist at that moment in the genre's history. And it climbed the pop, country, easy listening, and R&B charts all at once.
We rush to shore.
Skeeter Davis wasn't performing detachment from the world after loss. She was singing directly out of it, and audiences who never knew her personal history still felt exactly what she meant every time she asked why the sun kept shining.
It ended when you said.
Number 8. Hello Walls, Faron Young, 1961. In 1961, a broke young songwriter named Willie Nelson had already recorded a demo of a song about a lonely man talking to the furniture in his own apartment, and Faron Young, already a major star, decided to cut it almost as soon as he heard it. Nelson was in such dire financial shape at the time that he offered to sell Young the entire song outright for $500, but Young, confident it was about to become a hit, loaned him the $500 instead and told him to keep the publishing rights for himself. Hello Walls spent 9 weeks at number 1 on the country charts, and less than 2 months later, Nelson received his first royalty check for $20,000, a sum that reportedly sent him running straight to Young at a Nashville honky-tonk to celebrate.
I've got a feeling she'll be gone.
That single decision, one star trusting an unknown songwriter's future over an easy payday, effectively launched Willie Nelson's entire career as a Nashville hitmaker, while giving Faron Young the biggest and most enduring hit of his own.
She went away.
Number 7. Sea of Heartbreak, Don Gibson, 1961. Don Gibson had already built his reputation as one of Nashville's greatest songwriters in his own right, having written "Oh Lonesome Me" and "I Can't Stop Loving You," a song Ray Charles would later turn into one of the most iconic recordings in American music. But Sea of Heartbreak itself came from 2 other writers entirely, Paul Hampton and Brill-building songwriter Hal David, who built the song around a lonely, nautical metaphor of drowning in regret, a lost harbor, a ship without direction, imagery country radio simply wasn't using at the time. Gibson recorded it in 1961, and it climbed to number 2 on the country charts while crossing over to number 21 on the pop charts, further cementing his reputation, this time purely as an interpreter rather than the writer, for material that matched his aching, melancholy delivery. Gibson was already known across Nashville as the sad poet of country music, and Sea of Heartbreak proved that reputation didn't require his own pen, just his own particular gift for making someone else's heartbreak sound entirely lived in. Number 6. Abilene, George Hamilton IV, 1963. Detroit City, Bobby Bare, 1963. Songwriters Danny Dill and Mel Tillis built this song around the real experience of the Great Migration, the millions of Southern workers who left small towns for factory jobs in the industrial North during the mid-20th century, chasing wages that didn't always deliver the life they'd imagined.
Folks think I'm big in Detroit.
Bobby Bare's recording was so precise, so quietly devastating, that it won the 1964 Grammy Award for Best Country and Western Recording, built almost entirely around plain, unadorned vocals over a simple arrangement, letting the loneliness of the lyric carry the entire record.
I wanna go home.
Bear has said in multiple interviews that he understood the song's narrator completely, because before Nashville, before any hint of a music career, he had genuinely lived that exact story himself, chasing work far from home and dreaming constantly of getting back. For Bear, Detroit City was never really a performance. It was closer to a confession, and that honesty is exactly why a nation of listeners who had never set foot in a Michigan auto plant still felt every single word of it.
The letters that I write, they think I'm...
We're just past the halfway point, and the next 4 stories somehow get even stranger, involving a real mountain man who was thrilled instead of furious, and a song that got its biggest hit, stolen entirely by a singer from Wales. If any of these songs are bringing a memory back for you, drop it in the comments. And if you want more real, deeply researched country music history like this every single week, go ahead and subscribe to the Country Trails right now. Number 4. Wolverton Mountain, Claude King, 1962. There is a real mountain in Arkansas, and there was a real man who lived on it. Songwriter Merle Kilgore wrote the original version of this song about his own uncle, Clifton Clowers, essentially as an affectionate, exaggerated birthday tribute, before handing it off to country singer Claude King to polish into a finished record. King reshaped Kilgore's rougher composition into the version that became a hit, and Wolverton Mountain spent 9 weeks at #1 on the country charts in 1962, while climbing into the pop top 10, turning a real, obscure Arkansas mountain into a piece of American folklore almost overnight. The song's story painted Clifton Clowers as a knife and gun-wielding, overprotective father guarding his daughter from suitors. But the real Clifton Clowers was, by every account, a gentle, deeply religious deacon known for whittling small gifts for visitors, not threatening them. Rather than being offended, Clowers was reportedly thrilled by his newfound fame, and both King and Kilgore personally visited him to celebrate his 100th birthday. He lived to be 102 years old and is buried on the very mountain the song made famous. Number 3. Green, Green Grass of Home, Porter Wagoner, 1965.
The old hometown looks the same.
Songwriter Curly Putman drew the emotional core of this song from a scene in the 1950 film noir The Asphalt Jungle, in which a dying criminal dreams of returning to the Kentucky horse farm of his childhood, and Putman built an entire ballad around that same bittersweet homecoming fantasy.
For there's a guard and there's a sad old...
The song was first recorded by Johnny Darrell in 1965, without making any real impact on the charts, until Porter Wagoner cut his own version that same year, delivering the first verses with such warm sincerity that most listeners didn't register anything unsettling building underneath.
With my sweet Mary, hair of gold.
Wagoner's recording climbed to number 4 on the country charts, but the song's true gut punch arrives only in the final verse, revealing that the entire warm homecoming was a condemned man's dream, and he is actually waking up on the morning of his execution.
Lips like cherries, it's good to touch the...
A year later, Welsh singer Tom Jones heard a version of the song and recorded his own, turning it into a global #1 phenomenon that outsold and outlasted every American version, leaving Wagoner's original devastating recording as the one country audiences quietly forgot.
Mama and Papa.
Number 2. Make the World Go Away, Eddy Arnold, 1965.
Make the world go away.
Songwriter Hank Cochran was on a date at a movie theater in 1960 when a scene in the film sparked the entire idea for this song, and he reportedly left before it ended, finishing the whole lyric within 15 minutes of getting home. Ray Price recorded the original version in 1963, taking it to #2 on the country charts, and pop singer Timmy Euro also had a modest hit with her own version that same year. But neither recording fully captured the song's quiet ache the way Cochran had originally written it. By 1965, Eddy Arnold's career had cooled considerably as rock and roll reshaped the industry, until producer Chet Atkins built a spare, elegant arrangement around Arnold's voice for this song, and it became his full comeback, reaching #1 on the country charts and #6 on the pop charts. Make the World Go Away turned into Eddy Arnold's signature song for the rest of his life, and was eventually inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, proof that a song built from 15 rushed minutes in a movie theater parking lot could still outlast every artist who ever recorded it.
And make the world go away.
#1, He'll Have to Go, Jim Reeves, 1960.
Put your sweet lips a little closer.
Songwriters Joe and Audrey Allison built this entire song from a real, frustrating phone call. Joe straining to hear his wife's soft voice on a bad connection, and asking her, again and again, to put her sweet lips a little closer to the receiver.
Do you want me answer yes or no?
The song was first given to another singer and went nowhere, until Jim Reeves heard it and insisted on recording it himself, delivering the vocal in a hushed, impossibly close baritone that RCA Victor literally called his feel approach, a style built on intimacy and restraint that no other singer of the era fully replicated.
Though love is blind, make up your...
He'll Have to Go spent 14 weeks at #1 on the country charts, crossed into the pop top 10, and became a genuine international phenomenon, spending an astonishing 29 consecutive weeks in the Norwegian top 10 alone.
Let's pretend that we're together.
4 years after this recording changed his career forever, Jim Reeves died piloting his own small plane into a Tennessee thunderstorm at just 40 years old. But the whispered, intimate voice that made He'll Have to Go a phenomenon never actually left the airwaves. It just quietly faded from memory the way every song on this list did.
I'll tell the man.
That's the countdown. 12 records that once ruled American radio completely and then slipped away, not because they stopped being great, but simply because the world kept moving on without them. If one of these brought back a memory you hadn't touched in years, tell me about it below, and I'll see you on the next trail.
Closer to the phone.